morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Alcoa. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Well, Alcoa beats on the revenue and gets a little bit of a lift here in the pre-market. That's helping the S&P rally a couple of points this morning. Dish comes out. Trump sprints bid for Clearwire Corporation. They're going to offer $3.30 a share for CLWR. Goldman Sachs, bullish Visa, and MasterCard. They upgrade both of them this morning, and both stocks trading significantly higher. Volatility remains low. What's going to give us a little bit more volatility here, Joel?
I know what.
What?
Earnings.
Earnings season is coming, so hopefully that's going to be. It's been quiet. This is like the calm before the storm, is it?
Yeah, we got a little bit of another fake out yesterday. We went through that triple bottom at 1450, dipped only to the 1446 level before recovering on the day to settle mid-range. So that 1452 and a quarter area is going to be a nice swing area today. And the overnight session couldn't quite get up to Tuesday's high, so we're really working ourselves into a tizzy here, basically trading in the 15-point range over the last 3 days. Very unusual.
Very unusual, but very quiet ahead of earnings season. Obviously, we're going to get into the bulk of it next week. But Alcoa did report earnings last night to kick it off. Stock trading up 17 cents. They came in line on adjusted estimates. Actually reported 21 cents, but when you adjust for one-time gains, they reported 6 cents. That's where the analyst estimates were at 6 cents. But they beat on revenue, $5.9 billion against estimates of $5.58 billion. That's got the stock trading up to 16 cents here this morning. But looking at the charts here, coming right into resistance.
Yeah, major resistance. You did have had a double top there from 928, 929. Did bust through that in the pre-market. Got to 934. That coincides perfectly with the high back on October 5th of 934. We've peeled back, have traded under the 920 level. If this thing can't get back, get to 934, get over that 934, I think we're just going to flop right back down to the $9 number.
Yeah, and it traded a lot of stock last night here. It's traded only 320,000 shares this morning, but starting to trade a bit more actively now. I think you're right. I think we need to start marching and start getting above 935, or I get nervous on this. And we've seen this in the past with Alcoa. They'll report earnings. It'll get a little bit of spike off the hop and then slowly just start drifting down and off and give back the gains. So if history repeats itself, that scenario could come to fruition. MasterCard and Visa both getting upgraded at Goldman Sachs. Are they late to the party here? These stocks have been marching for the better part of years here now, I guess. But wow, look at that Visa chart. Looking back to April of 2011, it was $70. It's now 161. Stock has more than doubled in the last year and a half.
What do you say? I mean, 161.20 is the high in the pre-market. If you're thinking or selling or shorting that stock, hang out to the 910, 915, 920, see what the high is, and use that as a reference point because you are in no man's land here in this stock. The same with MasterCard, trading up $9. That started its move last night a little bit. Seems to be someone letting go some stock here at the 5. Let's see, what's the pre-market high? You just got to take it, 528.70, 526.79. But that's just a 100 lot order. There was some trading at 526. If you're buying this off the hop, it drops below 526. You might want to reevaluate your strategy.
But the thing is in full breakout mode. Yeah. What was interesting last night, though, is trading in the after hours. And Visa gets bid up and starts getting bid up after hours last night. And I was looking at it, I was like, well, I don't see any news. And then this morning it gets upgraded. So I don't know if people have that information or what the deal is, or if they got a little sneak peek of what the upgrade's going to be tomorrow. But obviously, both stocks getting a nice lift here this morning. These stocks just keep on rolling.
Yeah, just to go back, I mean, we would have paid a little bit more attention to that Barron's article a few weeks ago where they were forecasting, over the next 10, 20 years that, 75-80% of all transactions are going to be done in credit cards or debit cards or whatever, and
Yeah, and
cash is just going away. I mean,
the
looks
current
like.
numbers are much lower than that. I heard at one point in time that cash transactions are only like 20% of overall or I'm sorry, transactions. That cash is still 75 or 80% of overall transactions. So there is room to grow there. So you think this stock's had a heck of a run. That just could continue for a while if people still start to move into the plastic. And obviously, you're right. I think cash, is slowly becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, you can charge usury rates when you're late on your fees. I mean, you talk about free money. People are late on their credit cards, or what are they paying? I mean, depends. Some people have lower rates, but the average person's paying 15, 16, 17%. I mean, free money.
Bank America getting downgraded at Credit Suisse here today. Stock trading down 12 cents off that downgrade, 11.86 after closing at 11.98. This chart looking a little bit toppy to you, Joel?
I don't like these kind of move. I don't like the move that the S&P had when it gapped up. I don't like when stocks gap up like this. I mean, it's just it feels to me like it's just a false rally. Obviously, a lot of times stocks gap and go and never come back. I mean, you kind of figure that the Bank of America is going to fill this gap here, going down to 1165. I mean, I'm going looking at the daily here, going back to July, and I see some small gaps here and there that weren't filled, but I think a majority of them are. Really no major support in this stock until 1165. Had a few lows at 1188. That's what we're trading now. But when you're over $12 like this, then you get a downgrade and it comes back under that number. That 12, they'll start lining up those sell orders at
I
12
think
again.
you're right. 11.98 with the close there too, so that even adds more relevance to that whole $12 area. So it would not surprise me if the stock did go for a rally for whatever reason. You're going to find resistance, I think, in the 11.90s all over the place now. Facebook announces a mystery press event for next week. This is interesting.
Do you know what it is?
What do you think it is? It's a mystery. How nobody knows what it is.
Well, no, because I'm getting a Facebook page.
Is that what it is? Joel's going to
Yeah, they're good.
actually open an account. They're not
Yep,
launching a
yep,
mystery event.
yep,
I
yep.
got the
They're
great
gonna.
Joel Alconan's going to jump on the Facebook.
Actually, there's another one on there that's my cousin. But yeah, I gave them a call. They're going to upgrade their servers so they can handle all the for all their friends' requests. But yeah, I mean, a mystery surprise event. Okay, I'll be waiting for that.
Well, that's what's got the stock lifting this morning. It's trading 29.56 after closing at 29.06. I'm looking at the chart here though from 2 days ago, and the stock got up to 29.79, and then yesterday got up to 29.60. So you have resistance pretty defined here below that $30 area. Obviously, if we start to take out 30, then it gets interesting.
Yeah, we also mentioned that 29.79 level coincided perfectly with the 50%
Yeah, from the
retracement.
entire move.
Yep, of the entire move. The other thing I want to point out to our traders on the Facebook yesterday, I did not catch it. You did have the open near the high, failed to make a new high. You sold off, but where did you sell off to? You sold off down exactly, right into those old tops that you had that were trying to break through 28.93, 28.90, 28.77. Had a lot of highs in that area. Came back, that acted as support, and I think you're good to go on the long side until Facebook breaks that 28.80 level.
UTX reaffirms their full year earnings per share guidance here. They're reaffirming 615 to or 585 to 615. They're estimating earnings. Estimates are at 606, so difficult to really interpret that. It's trading down here just slightly after hours at 83.10 on the news. 83.55 is where it closed.
I did see a spike down to 81 here.
It was a 100, yeah, it was a 100 share lot. What happens here is you get those news algorithms, and it almost kind of looked like it read it wrong or something. It read it like they were lowering guidance. And right when that news release came out, instantaneously some algorithm slams it all the way down. They hit a lot of stock at 82.49. There was like a whole pile of prints that went through there, and then just a one lot, just 100 shares down to 81. So basically, took out all the liquidity on the buy side right instantaneously, and then it starts to get bid back up. So I think that whoever was running that algo is like, oops, maybe a little bit. They got a little bit aggressive selling it. We'll have to see if it works out for them today. But the stock's trading just after hours was just down 40 cents at 83.10.
Yeah, you might get a decent playoff. This is an interesting setup since you can't really decipher the news. We'll decipher the charts here. 83 and a quarter was yesterday's low, and then you go back and you have a 5-day low at 83.11. So call that whole 83 buck area support.
Then you get a
After you
gap.
take, yeah. If below 83, get out the sell button, and we could take this thing down to 82 and a quarter and fill the gap. Really don't see much in between those levels. Also, on a day like this when the company announces news, I think the settlement will have more significance. So keep an eye on the 83.55, which was the close.
Seagate increases their guidance, and this one's a little bit easier to define. The stock's trading up 80 cents at 32.20 right now. It's trading over this 32 resistance level, and this
Yeah.
32 has been absolutely enormous. Obviously, I want to see it trade at 9:30 above 32 because it is starting to drift down. If you look back, you had multiple highs in September at 32, and then in the last 3, 4, 5 trading sessions, it's topped out at 32 multiple days.
Yeah, that's a level definitely to keep an eye on here. Looking at the pre-market activity, you've gotten a pop here, trading at 32.20. Needs to hold the 32 level before I'm really convinced that it's a breakout to the upside. After that, the 32 handle looks kind of sparse, doesn't it?
It does. There's not much above there, so a little bit nervous if you're shorting off the 32 level if it really does go into full breakout mode here. It's traded 76,000 shares, so it has traded some significant stock, which gives a little more validity to this pre-market breakout, but I do want to look at it at 9:30 and see where it's trading. Apple has an interesting day yesterday. It looks like it's going to go for that breakout there early on and then just turns over and starts to sell off.
Yeah, you look at those two pretty tight ranges, at least for Apple the last 2 days. 14-point range one day, little over a 10-point range yesterday. Got people excited when you got over that 530 level. It stopped right at 531.89, so that's your major resistance. Coming back on the downside, 521 and a quarter. That's a minor number. That was yesterday's low. I like 515.20 better as a support level. Another thing of note here in Apple, have had 3 closes pretty much within 3 points of each other: 527, 523.90, 525. So let's identify that 525 level as a key swing area today.
523, just trading down a couple bucks here. I'm having trouble getting a feel for this. Usually I have a pretty good feel on Apple, and I've got a little trouble here the last couple of days trying to get a feel for it. I thought that it might break out at 530, and then when it fell back through the 530 level, I actually got long it around the 528 area, and then it went up to 532. I was like, oh, this is looking good yesterday morning. And then it peeled back under 530, and I got nervous. I actually dumped it at 529. It was actually, you helped me with that a little bit, saying I don't like it that it possibly made that double top from that old day. So when it cut back through, it saved me a little bit of money there. I'm still looking at it and thinking that I like it more, a little bit more as a long than a short, but it's got to stay above this 520 area really for me to remain bullish the stock. The Googa Monster here has an okay day. Okay afternoon yesterday because it sold off early on and then rallied basically all afternoon.
Yeah, this is. I'm not exactly sure when they're announcing earnings here, but what this stock is really. I mean, it's regained all of its losses. I know I keep repeating this on the show, but from the last earnings miss, it's come down. It's rallied 100 points. If you were caught up in that mess at all on the downside, you're having ample opportunity here to get out between 735 and 740. It just seems like the offers are coming down. You've had two lower highs since hitting that 741.47 level. Minor support yesterday's low 724.43. But looking at the major support at 716.55.
Boeing is actually getting a lift here this morning after their terrible couple of days. It's getting a little bit of a relief rally here. 74.86 after closing at 74.13. Reason for the lift is probably just that there's no planes on fire, there's no gas leaks this morning, so maybe it's all behind us now.
Well, there's first thing I want to mention is that I heard an analyst on CNBC talking, and he said, "Well, we got an oversold signal in Boeing here, so we're buying it." If something's oversold or overbought, I mean, to me, those are probably two of the worst technical terms that you can use. I mean, look at Netflix when it was coming down to 400, when it
Or
was at
300 to
300.
200, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's oversold at 300. Well, it's oversold at 200. Well, whatever. I mean, it's oversold here. You're getting a pop. Got an interesting formation here in the pre-market, especially for a stock that's been as volatile as it has. It's just hugging the $74 level. It closed yesterday at 74.13. A lot of consolidation here. So if in fact it can hold the close and hold 73, maybe it will take some of back to this move, break, coming down off the highs at 78. That 73 low coincided with the low on December 5th at 72.93. So don't get too excited if that 73 level is taken out.
Reason for the pop too is Oppenheimer's this morning saying that Boeing shares should be bought on weakness. So it's
On
another
the
reason.
open, on the open.
On the open, yeah. Anyways, moving on, market overall thoughts here. We obviously, like we said, we breached 1450 yesterday, but then this number still has relevance because the low this morning, 1451 and a quarter. What's your take?
I think just waiting to see how the earnings shake out here. I don't think anybody wants to, really make any big bets until the actual earnings comes out on the companies. Yeah, you could put some little bit of credence on that 1451 and a quarter low. To me, the real major support still comes in at yesterday's low at 1446. But I mean, you're just really bunching up high here in the high 1550s here. You've had
1450s? I'm
yeah,
gonna have to
14,
keep correcting your handles.
right, 13.
13, 1300,
Yeah,
1400, 1500. 53 is where we're at.
yeah, 14. Okay, 1456, 7. Maybe I'll just say 5675, 57. Also, the high is 6075. I mean, that also coincides with some long-term resistance when this market was back up here in September. So, really not looking for a breakout until we can get above and close above this 1460 level.
That's our show for today. Have a great trading day. Back at you tomorrow.